Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the Coach, from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. It's 2024. How long have we been doing this? What was our first year doing this? Do you know?
Our first, I don't like. I'll look for us. I feel like it was forever ago.
So I'm looking at a list of every episode we've ever done. Our first episode aired on July 15th. The problem is I don't know what year that was. But we're on episode, what is this?
229.
229. So we've been doing this for over 4 years, 4.5 years.
See, and you said July. What do we got here? It's pulling up here.
I guess we started in like 2019.
7/11/19. That was the first episode. But if you remember, we kind of accidentally phantom dropped the episode 2 because you remember I texted you like, hey, people found the episode on Reddit and they were talking about our episode. Like, man, we had Vicky Guerrero and they're like, Vicky gave a really good interview with this random new podcast.
That was crazy. Wild. Yeah, it was a great conversation with her. I mean, I will tell you, we obviously from time to time will interview someone and talk about their match, and sometimes those interviews go well and sometimes they're like pulling teeth. It's interesting.
That was a really well loved one. Yeah, but man, 5 years this upcoming summer, but we're going to crank it out. We're feeling good.
Wow. So, all right. Well, I'm excited for this match. It's timely because of when it occurred. Timely because Nakamura is, I'd say in a prominent position in the Fed. Before we jump into it, why did you pick this match?
Yeah, this is one. So it's Wrestle Kingdom this week. And so they're WrestleMania, if you will, in New Japan. And so this was one too. When I was looking at, I always, try and slot some of these at this time of year, especially because of Wrestle Kingdom. And so it's hard to not like Nakamura. I know this was one of the first matches I saw with him. Kota Ibushi, a lot of people may just know him from that cruiserweight tournament that they did. And he had him and Cedric Alexander. It had just a classic match on that. But Kota Ibushi's been around a lot longer than that. Like this match taking place in 2015. Little spoiler here. It is a 5-star match from our favorite star giver Meltzer. And so, just a lot of reasons to cover this one. And you teach me the ways of ECW. I try and teach you the ways of New Japan. So that's what we're doing.
All right. Well, let's jump into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
All right. So this is the New Japan WrestleMania. Admittedly, I know very little about New Japan. So Jeff often guides us here on pronunciations and history and everything else, but I'm looking forward to covering this. It is a 5-star match. This is 2015, January 4th. We're in the Tokyo Dome. There's 36,000 in attendance for Wrestle Kingdom 9. We had Yuji Nagata win the New Japan Rumble. Interestingly enough, this was not a well-liked match. And 15-man Rumble that went 26 minutes. I mean, I guess that kind of pencils out to how long a real Rumble would be, but maybe it just went a little too long. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are going to win a 4-way tag team match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Over Forever Hooligans, Time Splitters, and the Young Bucks.
Yes, that's correct.
Am I pronouncing that right? Okay.
Yeah, young tag team. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Executive vice presidents. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I do not find them to be likable people.
No. I mean, right now, yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm a punk mark, but man, I just, yeah, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be a tricky one for me. Hiroshi Tenzin, Satoshi Kojima, Demoki Honma. I don't even know if I'm close. Maybe I
Close.
am.
Yep.
They're going to win a 6-man tag match against the Bullet Club. Karen Jarrett and Scott D'Amore in the corner of the Bullet Club. That's kind of fun.
Right.
Now this is a fun one. The 8-man tag match.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta help me out with this.
Yeah, so Marufuji, TMDK, so the Mighty Don't Kneel is what that one stands for, and Toru Yano. They beat Suzuki Gun, which is oddly kind of a crazy tag team here. You had Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, who we all still know as being around, Shelton Benjamin, which, yes, it's that Shelton Benjamin, and Azuka. And so, yeah, just some names we know. Yeah.
Yeah, Davey Boy Smith Jr. It's just hard to believe nothing really ever. I mean, again, he worked in different. I just always thought he was kind of tailor made for WWE with the legacy and his, build. And I don't know. And it's just they even signed him like I feel like over the summer or something. Maybe it was even longer than that, but just nothing really happened. So thought that was interesting. All right, why don't you knock out these?
Want me to help you out this? Yeah, there we go.
Please
so we got. Of course, Suzuki beating Sakuraba. This was a match which could only end in knockout, submission, or referee stoppage. Makabe beat Ishii. This was for the never open weight championship. Then we start getting into the heart of the card at this point. Match 7, you had really an up and comer at this point. Kenny Omega with the Bucks beating Taguchi. That was Omega winning the belt for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, a 13-minute match. You had Mayu Tag, which was Goto and Shibata beating the Bullet Club of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. We know them, of course. That was and again, another belt change there, the IWGP Tag Team Championship in 9-match. And then we get into the tri-main event, I guess, as I would call it here. First, you have AJ Styles and Naito in a singles match for about 15 minutes. Then you have this match that we're going to get into for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, which was Nakamura and Kota Ibushi. And then the main event on this one was Tanahashi beating Okada. That was for the Heavyweight Championship. And so some big names in New Japan kind of wrapping this show up. It's what you would expect. Really high stars here. The match we're covering was actually more highly rated than more highly rated than the main event and the match that preceded it. And so those were both 4 3/4. This one coming in at 5 though. So we picked the one, I guess, that should hopefully be a little bit better here. So that's what we got on the card.
Yeah. I mean, just a loaded card. I have some additional thoughts. We'll get into it during the match. So, for an idiot like me that knows nothing, walk us through how we got to these two.
Yeah, this was actually a quick little build on this one. As we all know, if you don't know, we'll kind of teach you here. New 2024, give you a little lesson here. New Japan doesn't have like a weekly show or, bi-weekly show like we see with AEW and WWE. Like a lot of it revolves around, there might be some house shows. There might be, these kind of big shows or tournament really that they host that go toward more of the story. So that's how they build a lot of this. The big thing is, we've always talked about WWE doing this, like the G1 Climax tournament leading to whoever wins that is able to make, is the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Like that's just, that's how it is. Like they pick who their challenger is going to be at that point. And so you just kind of know that, which is always good to know really over the summer, in the summer what your main event is going to be. So I get part of it, you're kind of stuck at that, but then also at the same time, like it's good to know like that kind of pre-planning. It's just kind of always the case. And so this Wrestle Kingdom, though, taking place, this was January 4th, 2015. We're going to go back to November. It was actually Power Struggle. You had Nakamura beating the Intercontinental champ Shibata And then after the match, it was Ibushi actually entering the ring, beating up Nakamura, and issued a challenge to him. And so kind of one of the weird things with New Japan, or just kind of how they operate, is they still work with like the weight classes. And so that's why you've got like a lot of these belts we were talking about. You had the heavyweight championship, you had the junior heavyweight, the open weight. Like there's all kinds of different ones. And so at this point, up into this, like these matches and this kind of Nakamura feuding with him, Ibushi was actually a junior, and so he had bulked up, like, kind of looking at some of the pictures and stuff, you'll see him like, so he actually had been moving up to the heavyweight class, which it's not like Bronson Reed type heavyweight or like Otis heavyweight. It's just, it is more like a cruiserweight and then everything else type division. And so Ibushi at this point had moved up to the heavyweight division, and so taking on Nakamura for this one. And so they actually had a match. It was between the two of them at the 2013 G1 Climax. At the time, it was rated the best bout of the year. So that was the summer of 2013. Nakamura won that one in about 20 minutes. And so they had, I say, a little bit of history where they at least had a match, but it was really a very quick, he challenged him, and then unfortunately, not a ton happens between the challenge and the match. It's just, that's it. That's what we get. And so they're able to build through videos and vignettes and things like that. But really, they don't, the match off, if you will, or the one off of the match really doesn't take place until like what they announce is what it's going to be. And so that's how we get into this one between these two guys at Wrestle Kingdom.
All right. Well, we're watching this on Daily Motion. It's a 34-minute, 29-second video. Posted by Brother Sloth 2 years ago. So pretty easy video to find. Let's watch this one.
Long, but yeah.
No, exactly. And then and we're gonna start at the 5-minute mark. So Jeff, are you ready?
I'm pulled up. Let's do this.
All right. It's time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
All right. Here we go.
We're in the match here. Yep. So this was I would recommend, if you have a little bit extra time, go back and watch Nakamura's entrance. This is like very epitome of Nakamura New Japan. We get a little bit of this in WWE, but I would say Nakamura's working the heel angle a little bit more here, but also just kind of having his attitude and how he moves. It's what I always think of as kind of the base, or like what Nakamura is. And so as the cocky kind of wrestler, kind of the showman. And so, yeah.
Yeah, he looks very similar to how he works now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which I saw it on a few different things. I think the best thing they ever did for his character was let him just start cutting promos in Japanese.
Dude, how good is that?
Oh my gosh, so good. And so like, and I remember when he first, like, that was a big kind of point against him for right or wrong, that, he can't speak English, or his English is really broken. I remember even when you and we had our day contracts at the Performance Center, like it was still like him and Asuka, because they were both young in WWE at that point. Like there was definitely that barrier for them, and it's definitely gotten better, you figure. But just kind of, that's the way to do it. Like make him this heel that it's just fantastic to watch. And so a little bit of a slow start, but that's just kind of how it goes with these matches. So yeah.
I think these promos that they're doing are absolutely phenomenal. 10 out of 10. I just love it. I love something different. It's just, different's risky. They've tried a lot of stuff that's been different that sucked. I mean, but I love trying it. I think it's worked so well. He's the perfect guy for it. I love the kind of, I don't know, almost like comic book feel to it. I love that he's not speaking English, because that traditionally in wrestling just makes you a heel, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hey,
are you from Canada? Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. You're from Canada. You're a heel.
Fine. I mean, it's like Canada's cool, right? It's funny how like typically in a lot of cases, like a Mexican wrestler is a baby face, right? But
right,
then
the luchadors,
but Canadian wrestler's a heel, but like, right? It's just weird,
Yep.
like, right? Like, not like we have a problem with Canada, but
Well, I do.
and then of course,
Wrestling's taught me to hate Canada. Like,
I
yeah.
know, right? It really does. So I just I love what they're doing with that. I hope it can continue. I hope they can, you know, it's I'll tell you one of the interesting things right now is like, and I applaud WWE for I believe being a lot more disciplined with how many championships they have than AEW.
Mhm.
Arguably, WWE has too many championships, but it doesn't really feel like that given how loaded the roster is. I mean, if you look at it and you say, hey, on the men's side, we really have 2 world champions and 2 secondary titles, US and Intercontinental. So that's
Yep.
only 4 guys out of, I mean, how many guys on Raw and SmackDown would you say are like superstars? Probably 20,
Maybe
30.
Yeah,
I mean, if you really go down the list, Drew and Sammy and KO and Seth and Roman and Jay and Cody. I mean, you could rattle off 30 names. So there's only 4 titles for 30. One of the world champions is completely part-time. Even the other world champion, I mean, they don't have him defending every week, which is a good thing, right? Even Gunther, I mean, they don't have him defending every single week. And so you have these. So I think they've done a really good job. That being said, it's like, man, there feels like there should be a title reign for Nakamura in there. But then you say, well, LA Knight should have a title, right? And well, Logan Paul, I mean, that's a great champion. Like, that's someone that gives them a lot of notoriety. It's just interesting. It's like there's so many guys that a heel Drew McIntyre. Gosh, shouldn't he hold a championship, right? I mean, go down the CM Punk. Well, he's got to be world champion. So it's just, it really makes these titles mean something. But I look at Nakamura and I'm like, man, I kind of like him to have a title at some point. But I really feel like they've done a good job. Now, I will tell you that as we went through that card, 5 of the last 6 matches had a championship involved, which is too many. And I wonder with like Tony Khan, how much of this has influenced him creating all these titles. And that's AEW titles. That's Ring of Honor titles. He made the decision to completely commingle the 2 promotions, which is a horrible idea, in my opinion. You just have too many champions. I mean, I don't know who all the champions are. I don't even know if I can name all the champions or championship titles that they have. It's just too many. Nothing means anything. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nakamura. Let me ask you this. Your crystal ball for 2024. Let me share a few of mine, and then you can share a few of yours. I'll start with the easiest one, which I believe Cody Rhodes finishes the story. But if Reigns holds the title for 2 more years, would you be like completely shocked? I wouldn't at this point.
Nope.
So I don't know. Now, if it is Cody Reigns at WrestleMania, you have to think that we're going to get the Cody title run. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I tend to think, Cody will be champion. I know right now it's popular to think Punk wins the championship, but if you're going to do Punk Austin, you're not going to have a champion, or you're not going to have a championship match, most likely. So I don't know, man. I tend to think Punk beats Rollins on night 1, but then I'm like, is that too predictable? And are they going to give Punk the championship right off of the bat? Does that send the wrong message? Is Punk going to be a babyface or a heel? I don't know. So I do believe Punk wins the championship at WrestleMania night 1.
Off of Roman or off of Seth?
Off of Seth.
Okay, got it.
That face-off did monster ratings, monster YouTube views. I think they just fell in a lot of ways because this Punk thing just came about. I think they fell ass backwards into a match that could headline either night of WrestleMania. Those 2 are just fucking magic on screen. There's going to be a ton of heat. It feels real. It feels different. capitalize while it's hot. I love it. So I do think Punk's going to win the title. Punk is popular and incredibly popular. I love the guy. I don't know why I love him, right? I just for like it's not like he's like the type of guy. I mean, I don't love Chicago. I don't necessarily think I would enjoy meeting Punk. Like I don't think we have anything in common, right? Like, I think he's kind of a tough guy to get along with. But for whatever reason, man, and somebody said it, and it might have been Eric Bischoff, but I heard this on a podcast recently. They said when Punk's on screen, it feels real.
Mm.
Yeah. And how many guys can you say that about? Like, hey, I love Nakamura, but yeah, it's a character, right? Roman Reigns is playing a character. Seth Rollins is a character. When I see Punk, I feel like it's real. And there's something different about him, and people love him. And yes, I knew he was popular, but not popular among internet fans, just popular. Like the internet wrestling community loves him. Twitter loves him. Your 12-year-old WWE fan loves him. Everyone loves the guy. They sell a ton of merch. People watch him. And how do you not give him the championship and just go all in with the guy right now?
Yeah. A lot of high action here in the match, kind of following it a little bit here. Yeah. So I think I sent you, of course, and my page is reloading, so I'm going to need a timestamp. What's your timestamp?
So I am at 14 minutes even.
Okay.
By the way, can you hear this sound?
Not from the match, no.
Okay.
Go ahead and finish your prediction. Yeah, I don't want to cut you off.
Okay, no. So I think at some point next year, and again, some of these predictions are a little off the wall, but that's fun, right? I see Heyman and Punk getting teamed up as a heel Punk.
Eventually,
I think there's money in that. I think Roman Reigns is going to be the biggest baby face in the business by the middle to end of next year. I think after Reigns loses at WrestleMania, you keep him off TV for a while, and then boom, when he comes back, he is the biggest baby face in the business, and he's an attraction. I do think Steve Austin wrestles at WrestleMania. I don't think it's against Punk because I don't think that you want the heel Punk. I mean, I think annoying heel Punk versus babyface Steve Austin is a money match. I just think Punk's selling too much merch and they just can't do it right now. So they got to find someone for Austin. I don't know who that is. I think a Logan Paul would be fun, but I don't think it would be safe to have them in the ring necessarily. I think you need someone like a KO, like an AJ Styles, where, okay, Steve Austin can trust his life, trust his neck with this guy. Here's one for you. I think the guy to end Gunther's reign is Braun Breaker. So that's it. And I could go on and on, but those are some predictions. Let me just give you one more. I think CM Punk, I think he's going to be with the company 10 years from now. It just fits. He likes being at the PC. He's getting along with everyone. He respects Triple H. He really respects HBK. He has friends in the locker room. He knows
HBK is one of those friends. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Punk has no leverage, meaning there is nowhere else to go. There is nowhere else to work. So this just feels good. And I know a lot of people got pissed. Oh, he said he's home. It's his home. This is where he met his wife. This is where he started his career. This is where he went from being, a guy on the indies that very few people knew to being a worldwide superstar. What's wrong with that? Oh, well, he had a falling out. Oh, he said all these mean things. Hey, have you ever dated someone that you said horrible things about and you got back together with? Oh, yeah, that happens all the fucking time. Oh, have you ever left a company and gone back to work there? Hey, have you ever been mad at your employer? Hey, have you ever worked for a boss you had a falling out with, but you went back? This is life. This is what happens. So was Punk honest about how he felt 7 years ago? Yes. Is he being honest now? Yes. Do people's perspective change? Triple H, he had no love lost for Punk either. And I'm sure they thought never in a million years. But guess what? Time heals wounds. People grow up. People change. And if you can't understand that, then you're the type of person that holds grudges forever, that never grows up, that never changes their perspective. And that's not a healthy way to live.
Yeah. So I think I texted you the other day. I have a buddy actually that when Punk came back, he said, I sporadically watch. I've watched wrestling forever, and then I fully watched in the build to Mania 27 due to The Rock coming back, but I stuck around because of Punk. I forget where I read it or I sent it something, or I forget if I listened to it on a podcast, but to get into my predictions here, and I'll say it for everybody on the show here, so that a lot of people watching now may not even know him from his first run, and a lot more don't give a shit about the AEW to care enough about the backstage stuff. And so I think that is like you and I are big marks, but a lot of people that listen to the show are marks probably and know that type of stuff. But like, I think I have a friend right now. She's got two kids that are like 12 and 10. And so she, wants to get her kids into it. She knows she can trust me for, who to talk to, but she's like, they don't like those kids don't know Punk's first run. They don't know the AEW stuff. They're like, they really like Cody. And so, but then they see Cody kind of, okay, there's a little bit of mic work with Punk. And then all of a sudden you've got like this. Yeah, there's a Bumaye, from Shinsuke to the back of Ibushi's head. Yeah. Big hard hitting
totally
match.
Misses that. I mean, which is a nasty bump. And then, wow.
There's an old ratty IWGP belt, which I love. And so.
Hey, quick question for you. When they're doing the replays and they're showing them full screen, do you like that?
Yeah, I do. I just like the different presentation. I kind of
dig it.
Yeah, I like the different presentation, and so I think that's a lot better. So I'm with you on some of these matches, and I'm kind of focusing on Mania here. I think Cody and Roman makes sense. I think Punk and Seth make sense. I'm absolutely with you on the Heyman stuff. I think how do you take it a step further? How do you instantly give credibility to that title that people say is the secondary title? You have Punk win it on night one. You have Roman he could retain the Universal, but you have Heyman leaving with Punk after that match, and it instantly gives gravitas to that title that it didn't have the day before. And it's no longer the secondary title. For a while there, they've been building to the Usos, like, the two of them having their match. I know they're slowly, and I think we're going to see it. You said Gunther and Braun Breaker. I think it's going to be Gunther and Brock, and I think Gunther's going to go over. And so Brock doesn't need the Intercontinental belt, and so but Gunther could keep doing it, and that would be a massive win for him to get that. And I
just find it hard to believe that right after Lesnar put over Cody, he's going to put over Gunther. I get the thinking. I'm just like, it's just hard for me to imagine Lesnar losing twice. But maybe we get the Lesnar trilogy and he wins the second and wins the third. Obviously they could do 3 matches with those two, but it's a little clunky with the IC title involved. Is Lesnar going to win the IC title at any point? But I do think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, those two at WrestleMania, that's a main event.
Yeah.
Gunther Lesnar IC title. Could you main event a night with it?
Yep.
Of course you could.
Yep. And then get a little.
It's just loaded. It's just loaded right now. Loaded.
Look at the people we're leaving out here, and so like that's the other thing. Like
Sammy, KO. Maybe there's a Rock match out there. Maybe there's an Austin match out there. Logan Paul, I think is fun as hell. I love watching him.
I think LA Knight will beat Logan Paul. I think that's a good match right there.
Sign me up.
Getting crazy with this too. What about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes? Are you going to go down a legacy type thing here and do that? Like,
I forgot about Randy Orton. What do you think do with him?
No. And so I think there's a lot of that. I think larger predictions for 2024. I think Ring of Honor is going to die. I actually read an article, or it was Bischoff that was saying that, like, kill Ring of Honor. You're wasting resources. Like everything we're hearing about I think it is going to be a massive year for TV deals. I know this just a couple weeks ago, like I sent you some article, like Punk reopened a door, it seems like, with some of the WB stuff, which is TNT and TBS. And so yeah, no matter how we feel about Punk, and even I'll say, I will shout out. We had a fan on Instagram that was like, you guys should just do a special episode on Punk and him coming back. Who's this? Kanoki 6889. Yeah. And so, which shout out to you. I will say I have 180'd on Punk when I know I specifically said WWE doesn't need Punk. But on the flip side, like Punk does need WWE. And now that I've seen it, like I'm a believer, because
never in a mil.
Yeah. It instantly became a top 3 merchandise mover and probably needle mover in general.
Never. I just never thought it would be this big. I mean, it is unbelievable how over he is. The noise, the ratings, the YouTube views, the merch sales. I mean, it is unbelievable. And remember, think about how many people are in that audience never watched him wrestle.
Yep.
So I mean, you one of the things you can't, it's virtually impossible to quantify, okay, is God, now my video went out. Where are you at?
I'm at 23, 21, 2, 3. He's gonna pull up Nakamura. What's he? Oh, he's gonna pull him up from the outside here.
Give me it right now.
23, 35, 36, 37. Yep. 38, 39.
Jeez.
Big suplex from the outside to the inside.
How is Daily Motion in business? Like, I just, I'm surprised. But I mean, the quality of the video is great, and there's like no ads on this thing, and it's fantastic. But no, I cannot believe how big the Punk thing is. Oh yeah, and I just, it's like impossible to quantify, but it's like how valuable is Peacock, the network, the archives to WWE? Because someone like Punk, that maybe in the 90s, no one would have known who he was if he came back all those years later, right? It would have been like Bob Backlund. Well, who the hell's he? Now it's like the network just makes these guys like stars forever.
Best of Punk all of a sudden. Yep.
Yep.
Big elbows here. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And just kind of, and the other thing, Damian Priest still has the briefcase.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there's so many little things here that you and I like,
and let me fantasy book that for you. Punk wins the title, and then at the end of the show, Priest comes out, but Punk beats him too. I just don't. Damian Priest with with this roster, Damian Priest is not a champion. And by the way, this match is just
Falcon Arrow there. Yeah, I think, and there's another big Boomaye. Oh my gosh!
And the way these guys. Oh, what a finish.
There's the finish.
The way these guys work is just so real. It's so fluid. That just felt real.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like that's something where if you put that in front of someone and told them it was real, they might believe you. If you put a Young Bucks match in front of someone, they're going to be like, this is
Super Kick Party is not real. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is just awesome. So loved it. That was great.
Well, and we haven't even talked about the women.
The thing with Priest, it's just with this roster, he's not a world champion. I mean, you go back and it's like, all these guys that cashed in Money in the Bank, and no offense to any of them, but Miz and Ziggler, and just please don't give the title to Priest. I'm not saying he's not a future world champion, but actually let him earn it and win it the right way. I like the idea, though, and you could do it with Cody or you could do it with Punk, but have one of them win the title and then tease the hell out of it, like, wow, this is definitely going to happen, and then have them win it. Like, and maybe Cody's the one, because it would be like, he finished the story, thank you, and then boom, you pummel him with the briefcase and completely screw him over, and all the Judgment Days out there, and then boom, he wins it. And
the other crazy thing that we've never seen, do we have dual briefcases? Is he not able to cash it in up until the next one?
I think you have to do it within a year.
Okay. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
I feel like
Okay.
they say that all the time. So, all right, great match. Let's get into the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
All right, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's what I expected. Like, it's just fantastic. They got like kind of selling it in the ring after this point. They're putting the belt on Nakamura, retaining. Just really good stuff here. And kind of seeing that. And so yeah, all in the ring. Like it's exactly what I would expect from a New Japan match of this caliber. Yep.
All right. Best match poll. This wins, kind of. And the other fun thing about this too is this show, I don't know if you saw it or not, 337 observer votes. This was all thumbs up, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it's rare to see a 0 here. So what happened after this one point? So there was actually kind of some weird, not weird stuff, but just kind of how the storyline. So it was actually this Wrestle Kingdom 9. It was actually Yuji Nagata. He had actually been on 21 consecutive Tokyo Show appearances at 21 by featuring on the pre-show instead of the main card. So it broke that streak. And so he said he felt slighted. And it was the next day, actually, he challenged Nakamura for the championship. It was the first time he had been in the championship picture in a long time. And Nakamura beating him at that point. That was the new beginning in Sendai. Ibushi on this one, he ended up winning the 2015 New Japan Cup tournament in March, beating Goto in the finals. And so he was able to choose the championship to challenge. He picked a match actually against, at this point, who is Bullet Club, AJ Styles for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And so then Goto went and challenged Nakamura at this point. So Ibushi failed. It was actually April 5th in Invasion Attack 2015. And Goto beat Nakamura, who was wrestling Dantaku in 2015 to become the IWGP championship. And so more of the story just kind of kept going. Got matches against Goto, matches against AJ Styles, kind of, Bushi not winning the belt, but we know that like nowadays he's, very popular. He's tagged with Kenny Omega for, a long time there. I did look it up because I was curious because we got the Cody and Nakamura stuff in WWE. They never really ran into each other in New Japan. Cody was feuding with Omega a lot, but they never had a match themselves between Nakamura and Cody in New Japan. The biggest storyline Cody was dealing with was who was in charge of the Bullet Club with Omega. And so that was a big part of their storyline. So, I was curious more than anything. So yeah, but like you said on this one, well, PWI, Ibushi was 40, Nakamura was 5 in 2015. Jim Ross actually and Matt Stryker were the American announce team on this one. And so the torch on this one said, Ross said Ibushi at age 32 debuted in 2009 and has an amazing future. Good eyes there. Ross said Nakamura is a huge fan of Freddie Mercury and a Michael Jackson devotee and a badass. He said that's a unique journey to go from Mercury to Jackson to badass when describing a wrestler. Stryker said Nakamura is his favorite wrestler on the planet today. Ross said he's as charismatic as any wrestler on the planet. So high marks there for these guys. Great action, great story told in the ring between the two wrestlers. The type of match where with a little backstory and perspective regarding what's at stake, the action in the ring, along with the emotive body language and facial expressions, tells the rest of the compelling dramatic story. This all clicked in all those ways. 4.5 stars from the torch. This, like you said, not only the overall card, it was all thumbs up, but this one beating actually the main event of Tanahashi and Okada by almost double, about 100 more votes on this one. Just some few notes. They pumped him up as maybe the greatest talent in the business, and Nakamura in this match came across as the best wrestler in the world today. Nakamura was the only guy who got a special ring entrance. He came out looking like the Statue of Liberty. It was actually a Voltron reference, whatever. That's a nerdy thing. But anyways, he came out with that way. Nakamura on the apron, Ibushi climbed to the top rope. He gave him a German suplex, which was a Cesaro type of feat of strength. Ibushi went for the Phoenix Plex. That his best friend invented and taught him, or it should have been Omega. Nakamura broke it up with a headbutt and started throwing elbows like crazy. Nakamura hit a Bumaye on the back, a backstabber, a Falcon Arrow, and finally a regular Bumaye for the pin. This was an all-time classic match from Dave Meltzer. 5 stars. So, Tom, where are you going to put this one?
So, yeah, obviously don't know some of the nuance, so I probably don't appreciate this as much as other people. To me, this is just more of like a match than, well, I know the history and I know all these things. So, but still, I give this thing an 8.
Yeah.
So, and I could see how someone would put it even higher. I just thought this was awesome. That for me, like that match with a build and a great video prior explaining the storyline, like could be a 10, like if it was at WrestleMania. I mean, like that's how good I thought this was, though. But I loved it. What about you?
Yeah, so I'm putting this at a 9 because I am very big on New Japan always does a very good job. WWE has gotten better in the last few years of telling a story in the ring. I think that if you have two of the best wrestlers, I think adding that component. So this didn't have, I say, a good build outside of the ring, but in the ring, they told a story that it's easy to tell. I know Kenny Omega is another one. A lot of his New Japan matches are this way. On the flip side, WWE has always done a great job of telling a story outside of the ring, whether the story's good or bad, doesn't matter. They're telling it, but promos, whatever, face-offs, contract signings, but lately they've gotten better at what they're doing in the ring, and it really does have you on the edge of your seat. So I think you put those things together. If it had that a little bit more, I would give it a 10. But I think the in-ring work was just phenomenal. And so because we look at all of the different packages here, like the in-ring work was a 10, but because there's some lacking with some of that other stuff, I'm going to give it a 9. But overall, like as we say, this is what I would tell people, go watch this match. Yep.
Loved it. Loved it. Good one. Good pick. Next week, we got a 4-way cruiserweight match. I'm looking forward to that. Sold out 1999. So
crazy.
All right. We're off and running another year of the payoff. And as always, oh, yes.
Got to plug our shit, man. Don't forget about that. New year, new you, all that stuff. Don't forget Manscaped. They still got some post-Christmas deals, but also making sure you're using our code PAYOFF. It's getting you 20% off. There's so much new stuff in the store. I actually got a couple things for Christmas that Jill ordered, didn't tell me, my wife. And so, yeah, I think that we've got like some good things happening here, that if you're looking to improve yourself in 2024, make that resolution, trying to make yourself a little bit better, manscaped.com, using our promo code PAYOFF. It's getting you 20% off and free shipping, the whole store, anything you need. And of course, too, the Caldera and Lab, again, more men's products, more to make you feel good, look good, same thing, using that code PAYOFF, also getting you 20% off anything in the store. So yeah, start the year off right with all that good stuff.
Awesome. Good work. Good job picking this one. Looking forward to next week, and we'll see you on an all-new episode of The Payoff.